Usually when you see us every weekday, we don't have the suit. We don't have the jackets. We're ready for duty today.
Right.
Wild card weekend, Seahawks, Eagles coming up. But Saturday's games.
Yes.
Compelling, close, exciting way to start the postseason. And let's begin with the game in Houston. You and I both believed the Texans would win, but my gosh, they had to fight and scratch and claw down 16-0, and then it looked like they tried to blow it in overtime. They held on to win. What's your big takeaway coming out of that first wild card game of the year?
Well, my big takeaway, I think more than anything, is that they got to help Deshaun Watson more down in Houston. That is not, realistic to think that they can go on a playoff run here and beat Kansas City and then maybe beat Baltimore in Baltimore with Deshaun Watson just having to make one play after another with lack of protection or just doing it with his physical ability. They need Will Fuller back. We know that. But I think that's the biggest thing that jumped out to me about yesterday.
I was impressed that they eventually snapped out of what seemed to be a coma. It just felt like last year against the Colts where they got down early. They're going to stay down. They're not going to wake up. We're going to forget about the Texans until next year. But they found something. Is there something intangible in that can carry them? Because they went to Kansas City and won earlier this year. Can they do it again?
I think it does give you confidence to go, hey, even when we don't play our best football and we're back to a corner, we have the ability to come back. They are game plan specific on defense. You and I talk about that a lot. Romeo Crennel will do some different things offensively, with the running back and Carlos Hyde and our man from Cleveland. When they stay balanced there in the run game, yeah, there's things to like about that Texans offense, but the scheme is never going to blow us away. They're never going to be one of those surgical. That's why they need Will Fuller, because if you want to play man-to-man, they look for big pass plays off of play action in the drop-back pass game. And yesterday, it was tough sledding. But when you have Deshaun Watson and he scores touchdowns, right? And then we see the other team kicking field goals all the time. You let a guy like Watson hang around. It's only a matter of time before he comes back to bite you in the butt.
And it's 24 years and counting now for the Buffalo Bills to win a playoff game. The glass is clearly half full with this team, especially Josh Allen. It looked like he was going to win easily in his playoff debut, but a lot of good carries over to next year.
Agreed. First off, everybody, I'm a little annoyed with this right now. Everybody going, why didn't Josh Allen throw the ball away on those 2 sacks, right? In the end of regulation. Well, why? It was a 4-man down front. He had 6 blockers. He wasn't expecting the dam to break as soon as he caught the ball. They were right in his face. So very hard to just throw the ball away there. He could have easily got grounding. But I'm with you. I think Buffalo is one of those teams we put an asterisk next to and go, watch out next year. They need another playmaker on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen got superstar talent. Sometimes we forget Patrick Mahomes has Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They need to get that type of weapon on the offensive side of the ball, and I think that team takes off.
And they should be able to attract that in free agency, and if all else fails, they can draft players who can come in and provide that punch to the offense and help Josh Allen, because I saw a lot of good from him.
No doubt.
A lot of good. It's just a shame it fell apart for him down the stretch.
Fell apart,
And one thing that's going to help the Buffalo Bills next year, the Patriots, now that they have been knocked off of their perch and they may have some big changes, that division may be up for grabs. You were right. I got to give you credit. And I know that I'm going to get the full brunt of it on Monday morning.
You are.
PFT Live. But I didn't want to guess wrong and doubt the Patriots. You didn't want to guess wrong and doubt the better team. You saw the Titans were the better team, and they proved it.
That's all I saw. It's hard to always pick against the Patriots, like you've been saying all week. They're the Terminator. Well, they finally got terminated, right? It's finally.
You're going to milk that line
I am going to milk it for a little while. But I think what we saw was Mike Vrabel match wits with Belichick as far as management of the game. The little nifty trick he pulled with the punt and the false starts and all that to run off time. But the other thing is, they're one of the few teams, and you've heard me say this, that attacked the down front of the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots are not as big as they've been in years past. We've talked about this a lot on the show, and I think Mike Vrabel looked at it and said, we can't let them get away with having a 270-pound defensive tackle in there. We got to run at him, and that's what they did, and they dominated the line of scrimmage and really did a nice job of playing a clean game, kind of controlling the clock and, of course, winning.
Running back Derrick Henry had 182 yards during that game. He said, this is the kind of game we want. We want it gritty. We want it dirty. They're going to get that in Baltimore.
Yes, they are.
And the Ravens, if I'm a Ravens fan, I am praying that the Patriots win that game so I can get the Texans again. I don't want anything to do with the Titans.
Titans are scary. One thing I'll say, though, you got to have more from the Titans pass game. If they think they're going to be able to run the ball right into the face of that Baltimore defense, as you and I have talked about a lot when we watch Baltimore every Sunday, man, they got one big dude after another. Just look at their roster. It's 300-pound, 350, 330, all over the defensive line. So they will have to rely, I think, on Ryan Tannehill, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis more this week than what they got away with last night in New England.
Big changes on the horizon for the Patriots, potentially. Do you think offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels will be back?
I don't. I think it's, you know, and again, I don't know anything here other than that Josh McDaniels is in high demand from really all three teams that have the vacancies right now. I also feel like people in New England, and this is just a gut feeling from people I talk to around the league, that it is starting to be the beginning of the end there for everything. And that now would be the time to jump out. And, of course, Stephen Belichick, him having such a major role on the defensive side of the ball and things, too. I'd be worried if I was an assistant coach with the Patriots because I'd be going, well, I'm not so sure I'm going to get the job. If Bill leaves, it seems like Stephen might be the guy in waiting now. Who knows where that goes? But I do think Josh is going to find his way out of there and get one of these jobs.
I'm glad you said that because there is like this weird intangible sense that's emerged that the baton could be passed from Bill to Stephen, not Bill to Josh McDaniels.
I feel like
in that sense for a long time, especially after McDaniels spurned the Colts, the idea that, well, he's just going to hang around until Bill Belichick walks away, and that may not be the case. And I'm told the Patriots are ready for McDaniels to leave. If he gets an offer, they expect him to take it. What about Brady? Tom Brady, will he be back?
Well, I just can't imagine Brady on another team. I really can't. I'm going to say Brady's back one more year in New England.
Could you imagine Phil Simms on another team all those years
ago?
You
know, no, but Phil Simms isn't Tom Brady. I know that. As much as I love my dad.
Sorry, Phil.
Yeah, sorry, Phil. You're not Tom, okay? Tom is like in another stratosphere of superstars, the fabric of the DNA of the New England Patriots. I just sit there and go, I have a hard time thinking the Kraft family lets Tom Brady leave and put on another uniform other than the New England Patriots. I guess that's the one thing that kind of keeps me saying he'll be there one more year.
I've resisted that thought as well.
Yeah.
I now believe he's going to leave.
You do think he's going to leave?
I think he's going to leave. And I think the thing to watch isn't the biggest paycheck because he doesn't care about that.
No, right.
And I don't think it's necessarily the place where he thinks he can win right away.
Yeah.
I think that we need to watch the Peyton Manning strategy where he goes somewhere and they give him the keys and it's your offense. 42 years old, 20 years in the NFL. He's in a position to be a better coach than most coaches currently in the league.
No doubt.
I think that's what we watch. Now, that's what's going to be fascinating, but I think it's a 3-year plan because he's going to play 3 more years. That's his intent.
He stays with it.
And it could get very interesting when March rolls around and he hits the open market if he chooses one of these other teams. It's for as crazy it was 8 years ago when Peyton Manning left the Colts.
Yeah.
It's going to be 10 times crazier if Brady leaves the Patriots.
It would be crazy. I mean, I just can't imagine seeing him put on another helmet. I think the other angle to watch out here for, too, and, you know, I've heard this from a number of people, and I think you've heard it, too, in league circles, like the TB12, the growth of that business and everything, very important, I think, to Brady and his camp there. So within that, too, that always leads me to believe, like, okay, he's not going to just go to some, you know, he's going to go to L.A. or a Miami, somewhere that's going to buy into the lifestyle method, something like that. And L.A., as we talk about it a lot, I think we both think Phillip Rivers is out of there. They need a major superstar to jumpstart the Chargers. And then there's the Brian Flores connection in Miami. So, you know, those things, I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, if we saw that happen.
And we'd be remiss not to at least point out that Mrs. Brady has got to be a factor.
No doubt.
At some level. Not that she's driving the bus.
Right.
But that's one of the considerations.
Yes.
You know, Coach and I were talking earlier about, hey, the Colts fans would love to have Tom Brady. Yeah, but
she's not going to go
Giselle
move there
Bundchen living in Indianapolis? That ain't going to happen.
No disrespect to Indianapolis. It's a great city. It's just not in the fabric, I don't think, of Giselle Bundenchen's life. Right.
Bundenchin?
Bunchen?
You have a habit of just throwing in syllables.
Yeah, I don't know. I pay attention to football, not modeling. So sorry, Giselle.
Thank you for doing this. A little overtime. We'll do it tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Enjoy the games on Sunday.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.